Hi, this is Trish from Everyday Stitches, and we're going to sail on into our Newport Sails quilt along. And today is all about the sails. So the first thing you will have to do to make the sails is address the templates. So if you have our acrylic template set, you don't have to worry about making templates for the large focal sail. But if you don't have our templates, you are going to want to trace the sails and just weld these together, matching these little hashes up. So you can trace this, mark your hash, move it down, and trace the other side. But everyone's going to have to get this medium sail template. So you can easily do that just with a regular piece of paper. I'll save myself some time and put that in the corner. And then I'm just going to take my cutting template to give me a straight edge, and I can see through that paper pretty easily. And then I just have these little horizontal lines, horizontal and vertical line, I guess. So find your paper scissors and cut that out. And maybe do a better job than I'm doing. Okay, so to cut your medium sails, what I like to do is just measure the width of this sail first. And it's an awkward number, so I'm just going to go to the next 1/8 of an inch. So that's 6 5/8 inch over. So 6 5/8. And then I trim this edge so it's clean. So you will want to be aware of your layout, how many sails you have facing each way. So I'm doing the small one. So I have 6 blocks going one way and 2 blocks going the opposite way. So that means I want to cut 2 pairs of sails so that I have 2 going one way and 2 going the opposite way. So I have wrong sides facing right now. So I just lay my paper on top and I'm lining up the bottom edge. I'm not worrying about that top edge. It's very staticky. Okay. So I just like to lay my ruler on top so I get a nice straight line and cut that. Now for these sails, you don't really need to worry about trimming the top and the bottom. You can just let those go. So I have 2 going the opposite way, so I'm going to cut 2 like this. And then for the rest, I would layer the fabric so that everything's facing upright to cut the other 4. And that way I have them all facing the correct way. So now for the sky part of those sails, you have your rectangles cut. Let's see what number this is. B. So you'll just take this, and I'm cutting for this triangle. I think it's nice to get them out so you can see them first and know exactly what you're doing. And then just put your template on top of this rectangle, lining up. That's why you have these flat sides. So line those up And same thing, we'll just put the ruler on top and cut that. So now you're ready to sew. And this is just a 1/4 inch piece of vinyl that we include with our template set. And this makes it nice and easy to match up or your offset for these seams. So for this piece, you're going to worry about this end. So we'll put these right sides together, line up this cut edge where you're going to sew, and then I'm just going to use my little 1/4 inch piece. Usually this is taped on, adhered to my sewing machine, but we have a loose one for this purpose. So just make sure this point of this V is at 1/4 inch. Pin that and pin this other side. And from there, you will just stitch it together and press it out. So you end up with that. So that's the medium sail. For the smallest sail right here, this A and K, that's just a quick flip and sew. So these are my A pieces, and remember, you're going to have some boats facing the opposite way. So sometimes you will have your triangle on this side. So for me, I'll have 6 with the triangle on this side and 2 with the triangle on that side. So you really need to be aware of that. So for this, we're just going to line up these 2 sides and stitch across the diagonal like that. And then once that's stitched, we'll just trim it to 1/4 inch or about 1/4 inch. And press it. And I pressed it to the dark sail. Either way will work. Okay, so those are the straight sails. Now we're going to get on to the curved sail. So first we're going to start with cutting out the sail. So I have my fabric here. I'm going to use our curved template set. Again, you can trace the templates on the inside if you don't have this. I like the template sets. Well, it makes it a lot easier. Plus, you can see through it to get your sails, the stripes on this fabric lined up. And I don't want anything awkward on my seam allowance here, so I'm just going to make sure that's a little above the line. And then you just cut out according to the template. Didn't quite get it. Okay. So easy enough, that's how you cut out the main sails. And then for the background for this, again, keep in mind that you'll have some going one way, some going another. So for instance, if you have 2 going the opposite way, you will just want to layer 2 upside down and cut those, and that'll get you that kind of sail once you flip them over. But I only have my right side up ones left to do. So I'm going to line these up. And then take your background piece. And the only thing you are going to worry about is lining the edges of your template up with the edges of your rectangle. And I'm in a really awkward position. I'm going to move this. So this is lined up with that cut edge. That's lined up with that cut edge. Cut that. Now when I do my cutting for this quilt, I cut these out first, and then you can get a couple of your other pieces out of this if you're trying to be conservative on fabric. So to piece these together, you're going to fold them in half to find the center of the stitch line. So again, using the 1/4 of an inch, or you can eyeball your 1/4 of an inch. This, the point of that V is a 1/4 of an inch in. So we can line that up with our tape. And then just mark the center, just finger press to mark the center. And then since I did this one right sides together, I'll do my opposite piece, or the other piece, the opposite way. So I'm doing wrong sides together. And that's not imperative, but it makes it easier. Finger press that. Now I have my little bump there. And I'll just nestle them together. So I want them as flat as possible right there. Put in a little pin. And then on this side, you want that 1/4 of an inch offset again. And again, usually I have that adhered to my machine, and I just do this at my machine rather than at my cutting table. And then to match the ends up, because these ends will end up making a straight line, that's your clue that you want to match them up so that they're flat. So just match these two cut ends together and pin. And that's it. So as you sew, just worry about the next few inches and just kind of line that up as you stitch down the curve. It's a very gentle curve. It's really easy to sew. So you will end up with this once it's sewn, and press to the sail, and that just reduces the bulk in the rest of the seam and makes your sail pop up. It'll look a little like it's appliqued. So here's one that's pressed. So once you have this all done, you will see in your instructions that you want to trim this so that there's just 3/8 of an inch of the background. And you're only trimming it on the vertical. You're not trimming it horizontally. So put your ruler down. I want line that up with the other side. And you can see this kind of bowed a little bit. That'll happen sometimes when you piece, so you can just trim that off. So 3/8 of an inch from here to the edge of the sail. And everything looks pretty good. I'll trim that. And then while I'm at it, I'm just gonna trim this weird bow that happened. So there we go. There are your sails, and join us next week and we'll finish the boats.